Well, I guess I'm live. Hello, everybody. I haven't done a live on YouTube in forever. I usually do lives on Facebook and Instagram, but we're going to try this new format. All right, everybody, welcome. If you are here, please tell me where you are in the world, put it in the chat. And then if you're watching the replay, same. I'd love to know who you are, what you're working on, what type of business, and where you are in the world. All right, so today's topic is going to be about selling. So a lot of people ask me, how do we sell? How do we get more people into our business? And I'm going to answer that. So let me tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. So my name is Salua. I have been helping entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, service providers, helping them making money online using the skills and experience that I already have. So, which is digital marketing strategy. I help them positioning, messaging, lay offers, and all that good stuff. So that's what I've been doing forever, mainly for clients, and I'm deciding to show up for myself a little bit more. That's why I'm doing this live today. Actually, on one of my WhatsApp group, some of the ladies ask about learning how to sell, and so we are going to dive in this today. So, very first way of selling, and honestly, I don't really like this word selling. What I do like is exchange of value, because if somebody is interested in what you have to offer, they'll buy it. Just like going to Starbucks, for example. Let's say you want a latte and you want to go to Starbucks. You want that latte and you have no problem paying for it. So, this is an exchange of value. Once you go to the counter, you order your latte, deliver the product and services, you pay for it, and the person who's giving you the latte is taking the money. No big deal. Exchange of value, no hard feeling, no nothing. And so I want you to think about selling that way. It's really purely an exchange of value to the right person, to the person who's willing and interested in what you have to offer. So let's go with number one. Number one is to actually find out where your clients or customers are. So, you first have to figure out who is your ideal client. Well, we're going to use clients. And if you know the difference between clients and customer, leave it in the comment. Don't cheat, just put it in there. And so we're going to use clients for this exercise. So, for example, let's say you need to figure out who they are, have an avatar, an idea of your ideal client. It can be a woman between the age of 35 to 45 who is a professional. Well, I'm actually going to talk about myself. So, my ideal client will be a woman between the age of 35, 45 who is a professional and is looking to do a shift in her career, mainly start a business, or already have a business and is stuck somewhere when it comes to her messaging, her offer, and making more money. So once you figure out who is your ideal client or ideal avatar, then you do a market research to see where they hang out, online and offline. So where will they be? Social media for sure, but which platform? You can be on every platform. For example, seniors or people over the age of 50, 60, they hang out mostly on Facebook. So that's your platform. If you want to go with no, I'm not gonna say millennium, but Gen Z, I think, they're on Snapchat and TikTok. So figure out where is your ideal client online. And then offline, if you are looking for professional women, they oftentimes will be in the spa, at the gym, somebody who's taking care of themselves. So they'll be in a beauty salon, they will be in every networking groups, in maybe reading book clubs. Like, this is where you will find those people. So once you figure out where they are, then you diving into those platforms. And so I'm gonna give you an example of the platforms you can find your ideal client. Facebook group. This is a big one. People love to hang out in Facebook groups. And I found many of my clients in Facebook group. LinkedIn for professionals, YouTube, networking events if you go offline, professional communities, industry groups, and my favorite, referrals. So that's the first thing. And then Stop posting just to post. The idea is to reach out to them directly without being spammy, without being salesy, right? So let's say you are a web designer and you specialize in working with coaches, right? Instead of spending hours and hours creating Instagram posts, which by the way, that can help and that can convert, I would change the strategy and I would just go online, I would go on YouTube and I would type coaches and I would check all the website, and the ones you see convert not so well or need your help, whether it's the design, whether it's the strategy, whether the website is not clear, then you will reach out to them via email and you will ask them to, first you always have to offer value, and then ask them for a conversation, and you have to rinse and repeat. That's the hardest part, right? But if you find the right person, then you get on a call and then you can close them that way. So, number one is to find your ideal clients. Go where they are, right? Online and offline. Um, all right. So, the next one I have here is to stop selling. So, what I mean by that is start conversations. This is what selling is, just like I mentioned. So, start conversation. So, instead, you want to really talk to that person and ask them questions, find out more about what they need. Instead of be like, hey, I have a program, just buy my program. No, just just really have conversation. And honestly, for me, this is the best way I convert, because I really listen and then I offer solution, I offer value in the conversation, and then I meet them where they are. And oftentimes, I don't even have to ask. They'll tell me. They'll say, well, maybe you can share with me more about what you do. I'm glad you asked. So once you start thinking of selling as a exchange of value, to having conversation, everything's changing. Now you're not pitching and you just asking questions. And on top of that, the potential clients really like that. They like to know that you are interested in learning more about their challenges and maybe help them find a solution, right? You are listening. Very important. So conversation creates opportunity, so you don't have to turn everything into sales. Sometimes within the conversation, you'll be like, okay, this is probably not the person I'm able to help, right? All right, moving on, moving on. What else do I have for you? Okay, so the next one would be to create let me see. No, it would be to identify opportunities. So this is the thing. So when you have a conversation with somebody, or when you hear somebody needing, I'm struggling with X, then this is your opportunity to jump in and to offer value. Again, this is very important. Do not be like, oh, if somebody says, oh, I'm struggling with this challenge. Well, and you come in and be like, well, I offer a package and it's $1,500. Never do that. This is like, no, don't do that. Instead, ask question, understand the situation, you know, what do they actually need and want, and what's stopping them from getting there, and then you find out within yourself if you think you can help that person genuinely. So um and honestly, when I have this conversation and I listen and I give them value back, clients need to feel like they are understood, that you understand their vision. And you don't have to pitch anything right there and then. You can just have that conversation, make them feel understood, and then let them think. They'll probably come back to you. I had a client for a potential client, that was a referral, who sent me a message. And she said, so my friend sent me the contact info, and then I did send a text message. So I said, hey, I was referred by so and so. She told me you might need help with your business. I'd love to get on a call and talk more about what you need. Then she responded, oh, yes, but I'm not pressured. We can take my time, and I'm not in a hurry, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then I said, oh, no worries, take your time. And then I said, let me know when would you be available for a quick chat. I just want to learn more, nothing else. And then honestly, I thought she was not going to respond because I was like, "Well, maybe I shouldn't." But then she said, "How about this Thursday?" Cool. So we got on call on Thursdays, and then all I did before the call, I actually asked her a few questions so I can help prepare. But all I did was listening and then make her feel understood, that I understood her vision, and I kind of what would I say? I mentioned that her idea, and it was also true, that I loved her idea. I think this idea could go somewhere, and as I was doing that, I was giving her more ideas and we were kind of brainstorming together. There was nothing salesy in there. I was just like, what about if we do this? Well, and then I would ask question like, who do you think is really help me define who you think is this target market? And then I said, well, what about if we go and think about this type of market? And so this was a really great exchange. And we ended at that. Honestly, I didn't think there was going to be anything else until she followed up before I did and then said, "Hey, I'd love to maybe continue the conversation and see if there's an opportunity for both of us to work together." Right? So that's how you want to think about this. All right. So I will give you two more tips on how to sell. The next one that I have for you is to create a simple client acquisition system. And this is very important because you might feel all over the place and you will be thinking, oh, well, this person said no, this person, I don't know, I haven't heard back, or this. You have to have a really clear system for yourself so you know where, from the moment you create content to the moment you actually had made your offer. So, for example, I do use Notion for this, and I have a client tracker sheets or list, and I write down the name, the business, when we contacted, what was the conversation about, and what is the status, right? And every week I review this because otherwise, what happened? People forget. They forget about you, or you forget about them, and there's no clear system. So once you have that in place, things will be so much easier. You might have been talking to somebody 2 months ago and you never follow up with them or you never heard back from them and then nothing. And that's, my friend, you leaving a lot of money on the table doing that. So a good client acquisition system would be like get visible. So that could be in one of the social media platforms. Start conversations, follow-ups, and then make your offer. So that's your ecosystem, right? And by the way, if you want to learn more about this, I have a deep dive course that I'm going to do live this Friday on my community in school. And I will leave the link down below if you want to join us. All right. Um, so let's go to the last one. And the last one is to follow up. And honestly, this is my favorite because the amount of time people forget to follow up is how much money they left on the table. It is insane. And the follow up should be whether it's online or whether it's somebody you met at an event. Let me give you an example. I go to this networking events in New York City. I've done so many networking events. And I have conversation with people, enthusiastic. Oh my God, yeah, I'm in digital marketing and you, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. We were talking and all that stuff. I take everybody's information. And then when I take the information, I write down who they are and something about them so I can remember. I go home and I follow up within 24 hours. This rule alone will make you a lot of money. You get home, you get your list, and you remember, oh, Janice, she works in real estate. I met her, blah, blah, blah. You go and send her a personalized email with the name of the event and put that into the subject line. And you would say, nice to meet you at so and so convention. And in there, you will say in the email, you'll be like, "Hi, Janice. I'm Salua. I don't know if you remember me, but we did connect yesterday at this event, and I just want to let you know I really enjoyed this conversation with you. I thought we really connected well. I would love to continue the conversation if you're open to it. Here's my calendar down below. Feel free to schedule a time. I'd love to connect." Something simple. And that, my friend, is how you start conversation. And again, don't push for anything. Listen to what they need, see if you can offer value. Always give value first, and then you will share your offer. And I honestly don't like the word pitching. Share from the heart, from your expertise, how you can help them. And then you can move on the conversation into money and and everything else. And by the way, if you want me to make a video about contracts, about how to negotiate, all of that stuff, please leave it in the comments. All right, so let's continue with the follow up thing. On my Notion, I have this in my client acquisition system that I told you. I write down in one of the box when I did follow up last. And then I see the status of this conversation and I put them into um, hot lead, warm lead, or cold, right? I also never follow ups more than 3 times. My third follow up, if they don't answer, I'm like, I'm not gonna chase clients because I do want to work with people, excuse me, who really enjoy working with me. Because especially as a coach or for what I do, I work with client one on one. And I also do groups and digital product and all that stuff. But when I do work with client one on one, I really want to work with somebody that I connect with. So I never push hard on clients, but I'm also not minimizing myself and my value. So if they don't want to work with me, or if they don't respond after my third email, I put them into a list that is cold, where I'm just not going to reach out, or maybe in the future to see what's going on. But for me, it's a slight action of, okay, they ignore me. I don't know if I even want to work with somebody who literally ignore me unless my email went to spam, which is a different story, right? So there are so many potential opportunity that disappearing simply because people do not follow up. It is insane. So, and if that's you, honestly, go back to your last 3 months of contacts or connections you've made, whether it's email, social media. Go back there and then reach out. Don't wait for people to come to you from social media. Just reach out and then say, hey, I haven't heard from you. Sorry, or I didn't reach out, or something, life happens. I just wanted to see if you would love to get in, connect again. Be happy to really have a chat. And I enjoyed whatever we talked last time, blah, 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 blah. All right. So let me see what else I got for you. Oh, I got a quick story for you, very, very briefly, because we are already at 17 minutes. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to do a 10-minute live. I used to sell cars when I lived in Arizona. So I had a full-time job and I had a part-time job where I worked at CarMax, I remember. And as a part-timer, me and I think we were, honestly, the whole team was probably over 20 or 30 people, salesmen, saleswomen. Me as a woman, and I think there was one other woman and one or two other guys who were the top seller. And I was part-time. And I was like, how do these people, like, how do I make more sale than them? And they're here all day. And so really comes down to two things. Number one, as soon as I arrived, because I had a shift that arrived at 6 p.m. So I was due 6 to 9, I think, or 10. I don't remember because we had people who come after work. So what happened is I would actually follow up. I would go back to my book of business, and for 1 hour, I would go through all my notes and I'll be like, okay, John came here for a Honda Civic and I haven't heard back from him since last time. Let's give him a call. So like I had the number and everything, you keep in touch in your call log. Call John. Hi John, how you doing? My name's Salua. I sorry to bother you this late, or I would say, is it a good time to chat? I just wanted to know what's the status with your Honda. Are you still looking, or have you found a car? No rush. I just wanted to know what was the status. Super chill conversation. And they would tell me, oh, actually, I'm still looking, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, since you came in last time, we have a couple of new cars that came in, and I'm working tonight. If you want to drop by, I'd be happy to have, a conversation with you. And I would do this every time I start my shift. And then I would schedule them. Some would come the night, some would come the next day, blah, blah, blah. And then the second thing that I did, and I know CarMax had the, policy and we had to say certain things. I actually never, I just listened. As soon as they got here, I would say, well, tell me what you're looking for. So I would listen to what they need. And then I would take them to the car lots. I'm like, okay, based on that, I think security and safety is more important for you. You have kids, so you want something with more space. Let me show you a few options. And then we would go, and then I would take them on a test drive because that is a perceived, they feel they touch the car, they're just like, I'm excited. After that, I will tell them, so do you want to sit down and maybe we can discuss a bit and see what's the situation, blah, 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 check the credit, finance, all that stuff. But that's those things, me and four others were the top seller because of that. We were not pushy. We would listen to what the customer needed. and we would follow up. And just that alone, we really can change your business if you really do this. Okay, everybody, this is all I got for you. I'm gonna do a quick recap. So, number one, we have go where your clients already are, online and offline. Number two, start conversation, very important. So, don't pitch, just conversate. It's not a word, but just have conversation. Number three, learn how to identify opportunities when conversation arise, wherever you see them online. Number four, you create a simple client acquisition system. I use Notion. It's the best one for me. That way you can be consistent and you know exactly where your information are, and you don't have to panic about, when your bank account get low and you need to get more clients. So this have to be consistent, right? And then number five is to follow up. So don't let potential opportunity disappear simply because you forgot to continue the conversation. That's on you. All right, so I think we're gonna end here. If you have any question, please leave them in the comment section down below, and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I actually do a couple of videos like this every week, one live a week, and I post other video who are more specific. But if you have a topic in mind, please let me know, and don't forget to join my school community. It's getting really interesting in there. We have specific courses, we have a community, we have so much stuff going on. So I would love to have you there. Again, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.